Welcome back, everybody. So you're heading to Vietnam for the very first time. Well, I've got something to tell you. You're going to love it. We recently had a trip to Vietnam, about 10 to 12 days from the top at Hanoi all the way down to the bottom. I'll leave a link. In fact, there's a video playing up behind me there, but I'll link that up in the card and also down in the description. It's an incredible place. The country is beautiful. The people are so friendly. So you can have an amazing time, but we've got some great tips for you that you should know about before you go. All right, let's first talk about visas. The Vietnamese government in 2025, which is when I'm filming this particular video, recently updated the countries that exempt from getting a visa to enter Vietnam. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video that you can go to see if your country is in the exemption list. Currently there is 25 and a lot of them are European countries, but I'm also going to leave a secondary link that if you do require a visa to enter Vietnam as a tourist, you can use the link in the description. It's an online application through a visa process and it'll take about 3 or 4 days. It's the one that we used when we recently went, and it takes about 3 or 4 days to come back through to you. There is a small cost. From memory, it was about $35 US per person. But once you get that visa back, make sure that you print it out and put it inside of your passport when you're going through passport control and immigration into Vietnam. Yes, you can get a visa upon arrival, but I can tell you, it is a bit of a dog's breakfast. I saw some people trying to do it, and I certainly would be doing the visa application online first. So when you get it, print it out, put it in your passport. When we were going through immigration in 2025 in Hanoi, they didn't have the automated passport process where you put it in the machine and look up to the camera. There's somebody behind a booth that's taking your passport, stamping your passport and visa, and then you move through. Now, make sure that you print that particular visa application or the visa that you received off and add it into your passport. Don't have it on your phone. I saw a young couple have it digitally on their phone, and I totally understand people don't want to be printing things off these days, but the person behind the booth just simply looked at it, pressed their passport and pointed them in a direction over to the back of the room. So goodness knows how long it took them to come through immigration. So print the visa off, put it into your passport. After you go through immigration as well, make sure you keep that visa inside of your passport because you're going to need that when you're exiting Vietnam as well. But again, link in the description for those countries that are exempt from getting a visa, and also a visa online application process, a good one that we used recently. The currency that you're going to be using in Vietnam is the Vietnamese dong, spelled D-O-N-G. And it is a major currency here in Southeast Asia. So you shouldn't have any issues buying it before you leave to go to Vietnam from your local bank if they do offer foreign exchange or an authorized money changer in your country. But if you can't buy it before you leave, don't worry, you can get it at the airport upon your arrival. You can also get it from your hotel and all the authorized money changers in Vietnam. Now, the times you're going to be using cash predominantly are at all the obvious ones: markets, street food vendors, taxis, those type of things. And of course, credit card and travel cards are widely accepted across a lot of locations as well. You cannot use US dollars as in cash to be purchasing things in Vietnam. Vietnam's a very advanced country. There are some other countries like Cambodia and Laos in Southeast Asia you can use US dollars, but you won't be able to do that in Vietnam. It'll be Vietnamese dong or your travel card or your credit card. Often when you're arriving to a new international destination that you've never been before, you're wondering, how long is it going to take me to get through immigration, customs, and out the other side? Well, for us, when we arrived into Hanoi in the north of Vietnam, it was around about 1 hour, which wasn't too bad. It was a pretty busy day. Now, in regards to transport, from Hanoi International Airport to the Old Quarter downtown, where a lot of the hotels are, it's around about 45 minutes. Now, again, we arrived around about midday, so it was around 45 minutes. If it's in more peak hour traffic, it might be a little bit more. Ho Chi Minh City is a little closer to downtown, although if you're traveling during peak hour, it can be up to 45 minutes to an hour. We arrived domestically, we flew from Da Nang down to Ho Chi Minh City, and it was around about 20 minutes from the airport to our hotel, which was right in the middle of Ho Chi Minh City. But we were told, had it been in peak hour, it might have been up to 45 minutes to an hour, but not too bad. Now, internally in Vietnam, if you're getting around by transport, if you're with a tour group, then you probably transport is covered for you. You're going to be on coaches and things like that. If you're on your own, then I would definitely recommending download the Grab app. Grab is essentially the identical company to Uber, but for Southeast Asia. It does all of the same things. It's spelled Grab. You can download it from the App Store, put your details in, and Grab is a great way to get around. In fact, you can use Grab to getting scooters as well, fast food, all of the same things as you can get with Uber. And taxis are great as well. They're very clean, convenient to use. You may often need to use cash with those, but Grab is a great way to get around in Vietnam. Tipping cultures vary, of course, from country to country. In Vietnam, we found tipping is not compulsory, but it is certainly appreciated. If you're at a restaurant, I would check the bill, because very often a surcharge is built in. There might be a 5, 10 or even 15% surcharge built in, which is essentially the tip. So if you want to add something more on top of that, that's entirely up to you. Street vendors, marketplaces, if you're paying with cash, I always leave a bit of a tip, entirely up to you. So not compulsory, but certainly appreciated. A tip in relation to tour guides, and this came up on the recent tour we were on, up on the screen behind, and I'll, as I said, leave a link up the top here in a card in the description of our experience through Vietnam, is there is an expectation from the tour guide to be paying them a certain amount US dollars per day. Now, this was sort of reference to us when the tour guide met us in the lobby of the hotel on the first day, and I gotta say, shocked a lot of people on our tour. They didn't budget for it. So ask your tour company or operator before you leave, what is the expectation in regards to a tip for your tour guide? Because very often when you're going from the north, if you're flying into the north, a lot of the tours start in the north and head their way and make their way south to Ho Chi Minh City in the bottom. The same tour guide person will be more than likely with you the entire way. So ask your tour company or operator what is the expectation of the tip. For us, it was around about $5 US per person per day for the tour guide, which is, there was about 20 people on our tour. So it was a considerable tip. Now, not everybody paid it. There was a little bit of friction in regards to that when we were on that tour. So just ask your operator before you leave, so you get a bit of an understanding of what that might or might not be. Bartering in all Southeast Asian countries is a lot of fun, and in Vietnam it's absolutely no different. Our experience was, if there's a price given to you verbally or even on a ticket in a market scenario or a street vendor scenario, you might be able to negotiate maybe 50% off that and go from there. There's a lot of places where you'll walk through doors or glass boutique style doors, for instance. You're not going to be able to barter and ask for a discount in those type of shops. It's going to be generally the common sense places that you would have bartering in a market type scenario or a street vendor. But maybe knock off 50% off the listed price that's sold to you and go from there. Make it fun. They expect it to be fun from you as well. They're used to it all of the time. I saw a couple of French ladies getting into a bit of a bantering scenario, bartering over a couple of pairs of shoes. And from what I heard, they were bartering for about 10 or 15 minutes over €1. I'm sure that wasn't a lot of fun for the vendor who was going to be selling them the goods. So just make it common sense, but always have a bit of fun with it as well. One of your best experiences in Vietnam is going to be the food. It is beautiful no matter where you are. If you're somebody that wants to stick to traditional Western style food, yes, it's all going to be available for you, but push the boat out. Try to experience some of the local foods there. They're absolutely beautiful. If you want to stick to a couple of standard type things, maybe try pho, which is spelled P-H-O. It's not pho, it's actually pronounced pho. It's a beautiful noodle style dish, soup style dish, which is beef and chicken and vegetables. You can add a bit of chili in there if you want to as well. There's lots of places where you can get pho, or even the banh mi, which is the bun or the roll, French style roll, with all the fillings inside of it, which there can be lots of variations of those. That was beautiful. We often had that, especially up north in Hanoi. But enjoy the experience. The food in Vietnam is amazing. When we traveled through Vietnam, we felt really safe. We were admittedly with a tour group, but we did have a lot of days where we were on our own, particularly in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. We had lots of time to be walking around on our own and felt completely safe the whole time. Obviously, common sense prevails. If it's the dead of night, don't go walking out alleyways in the middle of the night. But overall, really safe country. Remember, it is a communist country, one-party system. A lot of people don't realize that when they go to Vietnam, because it does feel quite democratic. But overall, we felt really safe. Now, when you arrive into whether it be Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, or wherever it might be, you might initially get a little bit intimidated with the number of scooters that are riding up and down the streets, and how on earth am I going to cross the road? One tip I would give is watch your local first, how they do it. And one thing you're going to see as a common theme, they'll cross the street with confidence. They won't stop and start, they won't run, they won't really walk slowly, they'll just walk with confidence. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Watch how they do it and have a go at it yourself and enjoy the experience. It's a lot of fun. Once you do it once, you'll be absolutely fine. All right, I want to give you a couple of tips on travel time to some of the major places that you're very likely to go to that surprised us a little bit. If you're traveling from Hanoi to Ha Long Bay, that's going to be about 2 hours there and return. Very often return, you're probably going to the airport to fly down south to Da Nang and onto Hoi An. But it'll be about 2-hour transfer there. And a little tip, if you're traveling down to Ha Long Bay in the morning, sit on the left side of the bus, because if you're on the right side, especially in summer, you could cop a lot of sun. So stick on the left side of the bus. Another one, if you're going down to Hoi An, a lot of people like to go up to the Ba Na Hills, up to the Golden Hand. That travel time is about 1 hour. And if you're going down to Ho Chi Minh City, you're very likely going to be going out to the Cu Chi tunnels. That can be around about 2 to 2.5 hours. Now, all of those times, I think even with going up the Ba Na Hills, they always have a happy room stop, or a loo break, as we might call them in our part of the world. If you're going to Vietnam, especially in a tour group, you're going to get very familiar with the word happy room. I laughed when I heard it the first time, but it makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, so I hope those travel times help you a little bit, because sometimes you get on those buses or in the vehicles and things, and they say, oh, it's only 60 kilometers down the road. And for us in our part of the world we live in, that's only about half an hour or 40 minutes. But lots of traffic in a lot of Southeast Asian countries will extend that out to a lot longer. Now, a tip if you go in the Cu Chi tunnels, and particularly if you're on your own as a couple or an individual, go as early as you can. My understanding is it opens at about 7:30 in the morning. Get there early, because it can be very, very busy. And one of the experiences when you are at the Cu Chi tunnels is you can fire the AK-47s, or I can't remember the name of the other rifle as well. If you're in a tour group, very often they don't like you to doing that, because half the tour group wants to do it, half doesn't, and it holds up the tour group. I would make a point of telling your tour guide that you do want to do it, so they're well aware that there might be that extended time that you're going to be there. Because by the time you buy your tickets, or you're buying the bullets, in fact, when you're actually firing the gun, if it's a really busy day, it can be about 45 minutes between when you buy them and you're firing the gun. So get there as early as you can, and you can be able to do that if you're an individual on your own. If you've got a private car or something like that, get there early so that those particular wait times can be a lot less. One of the favorite little places that we visited in Vietnam was Hoi An. And although we had a day of rain, a little bit like today, you can probably hear the rain outside right now, right? It's pouring down. But Hoi An is a beautiful little town. A lot of history in regards to trading there between the Japanese and the Chinese and the Vietnamese, but it's really famous for its tailors. There's around 600 tailors in Hoi An, and I put them to the test to see if they could make me a custom-made suit within 24 hours. Now, I'm going to link or put the card up top here of our experience, and I'll put it in the description as well. It was a lot of fun. A little bit of a tip, if you are going to get something made, I would maybe look and choose one of the larger tailors versus the smaller ones, because I have heard that the smaller tailors, once they measure you up and you choose your fabrics and everything and you leave, you might pay a little deposit. They'll then take it to the larger tailors and get it done there and then bring it back. So to save some time, if you are squeezed for a little bit of time, maybe choose one of the larger tailors. I will give you the link in the description of the tailor that I used, called Yali Men's Emporium, I think it was, and they have a females division of that business as well. But it was an incredible experience, and you'll love Hoi An. It's a beautiful little town. Temple attire. This often catches a lot of people out. If you're going to temples, whether it be in Vietnam or in Cambodia, in Southeast Asia, a lot of the countries, you're going to have your shoulders covered and your knees covered. So fellas, wear a t-shirt or a shirt that covers your shoulders, and the same with ladies. Guys, shorts down a little bit over your knee, or lightweight pant maybe. Ladies, are skirts or maybe active wear if you're going to temples. Now, coaches, transport, and loos and things like that, our experience was we never saw a toilet on a bus, okay? But if there's going to be travel time of 1 hour or more, generally there'll be a happy room stop along the way. And we had a couple of situations where someone needed the happy room stop a little more than others and had to go to one specifically. That's okay, always ask them and they will stop for you. Generally, the happy room stops are great. Vietnam is a well-advanced country. You're not going to have to worry too much about the loos. If it's going to be an urgent scenario, that might be something a little bit different, but our experience was very, very good. Well, I hope you found those tips helpful before you set off on your journey to Vietnam. You're going to absolutely love it. We had an incredible time, and I'm sure you will as well. We went across to Cambodia for 3 or 4 days also, which was amazing. Angkor Wat was just one of the most incredible places I've ever visited, and Phnom Penh was really great experience as well. A little tip, if Cambodia is part of your journey after Vietnam, make sure you get your visa sorted before you leave to go to Vietnam. I'm going to leave a link in the description for you for Cambodia as well. If you do require one, you can do an online application. We didn't do the online application until we arrived into Vietnam, and it was a little bit stressful because it didn't come through till a couple of days before we got to the border. So don't do what I did and had the headaches. Do it nice and early. The same with your Vietnam visa. In fact, I'll leave a link up in the description, card up top here and down below, or it might even be over here somewhere, of our time right through Vietnam and Cambodia, and you can have a look at our experience. But have an amazing time. Enjoy it. The country is amazing. The people are incredible. The food is out of this world. You'll absolutely love it. And we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.